Yo, what's happening, people? Okay, so I just watched Beyonce's visual album Black is King on Disney Plus. It's the Disney Plus exclusive. Just watched it. Got Disney Plus, I think about a week ago, and it kind of occurred to me that, hey, wait a minute, I've got Disney Plus now. I can watch Beyonce's visual album Black is King, which is Disney Plus exclusive. So let me watch Beyonce's visual album Black is King. And I did that, and now I want to talk about it. I want to drop a few thoughts on this visual album. So I know Beyonce done some visual albums before. She did one, I think, for Lemonade, and I think she did one for the Beyonce album as well. I have not seen those. I've seen a few of the videos that they released as singles, but I've not seen the full visual album project. So this is my first time watching a Beyonce visual album. I would say that's not necessarily the first time I've watched a visual album though. You know, way back in the day, Michael Jackson did Moonwalker, which was kind of a visual album. And I say kinda, not in the same way that this is a visual album. What Michael Jackson did with Moonwalker is that you had mostly just sort of a bunch of different music videos put together, and then towards the end of it, there was kind of more of a traditional film narrative that he did. So a little bit different, but I don't know, very technically not quite. I don't know if you want to call it. It is what it is. Anyway, I've seen that, and if you've not seen Moonwalker, check out Moonwalker. It's a classic. But anyway, we're talking about Beyonce today. So with this, I'd say that going into it, you know, it has its narrative. I mean, it's kind of like watching a movie, but not a traditional movie narrative. So whereas your average movie would be, you know, beginning, middle, end, this doesn't quite do that. It does have a story and it does have themes that come up throughout, but the narrative is really more like listening to an album, you know. So if you listen to an album by any artist and they try to have themes that come up throughout what they're talking about, you know, that's the kind of narrative this follows. So it's almost like watching an album, but it's more than just putting a bunch of music videos together and calling it a day. You know, every track leads into the next track, or every part, I should say, leads into the next part, and it's very seamless. So it's not super clear as to, you know, when one song ends and another song starts, because it flows very seamlessly into each part. Now, I've listened to the album that this was based on, which is the Lion King, the Gift album that came out last year. So, you know, I'm a bit more familiar with which songs are which and that sort of thing. But I feel like if you're not familiar with that particular project, then going into this, I mean, some parts are going to be a bit more obvious than others, but I think generally speaking, you're not always going to know straight away where one song ends and another song begins, because it does flow very seamlessly. I should also point out the way that, yeah, so this is based on the album, the Lion King album called The Gift, which in turn was from the Lion King movie, the remake Lion King movie, which I have not seen. I did see the original Lion King movie years ago, but I've not yet seen the remake, so I don't have any of that reference to talk on. But I did listen to the album The Gift, the Lion King The Gift, and I have now watched this, so this is what I'm talking about, just my experience watching this particular project. Now, so the themes that it covers are mainly focused around black culture, in particular black African culture, and there's a lot of talk about being a king, what it means to be a king, walking with confidence, knowing who you are and being confident in who you are. So there's a lot of talk about trying to raise the spirits of people, in particular black people. I say in particular younger black people, because I mean, let's be honest, we don't really get a lot of images like this on TV and movies and, you know, music and stuff like that. I'm not suggesting Beyonce's the first, she's not, but they're not very common. Oftentimes it is more the negative black stereotype. So something like this that comes along that counterbalances that with more positive images of black people and black culture and African culture as well. So this is really cool to see something like this, because yeah, we don't see it very often. So a couple of things I thought were quite interesting. So the first thing is that the order in which the songs are placed in the Lion King The Gift album is actually different to the order in which the songs are placed in the visual album. Now, they're not massively different, it's mostly the same, but a few things here and there are changed up, and I'm not sure why they did it that way. I mean, for me, I feel like it works either way, but it is what it is. They decided to change the order. It still flows seamlessly, and perhaps that's maybe what they're going for. Maybe if they did it in the album order, it might not have flowed as well. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, but just something that I noticed I thought was quite interesting. Another thing that I thought was quite interesting actually is that some of the poetry in this was contributed by Warsan Shire. Now, Warsan Shire is somebody who I met many years ago on the London poetry scene. This is going back, ooh, gotta be like 10 years at least, probably even more than that. But I used to see her around on the London poetry scene quite a bit. You know, I used to be a lot more active on the London poetry scene many years ago, and you know, going to open mics and going to, you know, gigs and things like that. And I used to see her around a few times. I'm pretty sure she does not remember me at this point. It's cool. It's been a long time. But yeah, I remember seeing her around. I remember speaking to her, and now I see her name credited on a Beyoncé movie, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, big up to Watson Shire. Also, another thing worth pointing out, and you might have noticed this if you've listened to the Lion King The Gift album, is that not every song features Beyoncé. So Beyoncé is in most of the songs. They're either Beyoncé by herself or Beyoncé featuring another artist, but there are a few tracks on there that don't feature Beyoncé at all, so it definitely gives light on artists that you might not have heard of, you know. So if you listen to Afrobeat, then you might have already heard of Tiwa Savage, right? But if you don't listen to Afrobeat, then you may never heard of her at all. But now you have heard of her, and now you know she's worth checking out because Tiwa Savage is pretty damn awesome. But is it a banger or is it a wanger? For me, definitely a banger. The standout parts are Already, Mood Forever, Brown Skin Girl, and Don't Jealous Me. They just hit. I mean, I feel like all the parts hit their points really, but I feel like those, in my opinion, just hit it hard. But that's what I think of Beyonce's visual album, Black is King. Let me know what you think if you've seen it. Is it a banger? Is it a wanger? Let me know if you've got any recommendations, suggestions, all that stuff. Drop in the comments. But that's going to be it for the minute. So guys, until whenever, if ever, peace.